Hello and welcome to the Bloggers Magazine on I-24 News. I'm Rodeh Grober and we've got a very interesting show for you today. With me in the studio are Yoni Shadmi from the sites Tetel, Tehran, Haifa, Tel Aviv, and Mayan Rodeh from Israel Hayom website. Thank you both for coming.
Thanks.
As always, I'd like to begin with 3 short stories that caught our attention.
In Japan, even sushis are high-tech. In a reputed restaurant, starving clients order their food on tablets, and their sushis arrive in front of them on a travelator, in a capsule which keeps them fresh. On the flip side, you're filmed and your eating customs are studied. In Israel, disabled kids also have superpowers. These are heroes of an animated TV show. True superheroes will be broadcasted on the small screen next year. They aim at promoting their acceptance as equal and valuable contributors to society. In Iran, many bloggers are chased for their ideas, but Hussein Rouhani's mother started a hunger strike this week for an unusual reason. She denounces the tortures inflicted to her son, who was detained for saving the victims of an earthquake.
So I think the most interesting story is the last one about the Iranian blogger. I'm guessing Rouhani has no relations to the...
No, it's a different person.
But do authorities in Iran find their ways to arrest bloggers?
Well, they certainly do, and specifically the guy we saw, Hussein Malaki, was one of the most important guys in 2009 in the big protests. What he did was, what he was arrested for was setting up internet proxies, enabling Iranians to gain access to content.
Parts of the internet that the government wouldn't like to see.
Exactly. Yeah. And the interesting thing is that Rouhani, President Rouhani, the new president of Iran, has specifically spoke about these restrictions and said that they are extreme and unnecessary. So there is, my sense from speaking with Iranians is that there is some hope that Rouhani maybe will do something about some of these detained bloggers.
Right. Mayan, in a couple of words?
I think I'm just happy that in Israel it's not like that, but I do think that in Israel the bloggers are like weird creatures and no one knows how to handle them.
So even the police couldn't
they don't
handle
know
them.
Yet how to handle them. So
all right,
maybe it's a good thing.
Maybe. Moving on, the reality TV industry in Israel is still booming, and in many ways the popular genre it serves as a mirror of Israeli society. Sometimes less flattering, sometimes more. We met with Amira Buzaglo, a leading casting director who guided us through the conflicts of Israeli society as reflected in reality TV.
Meet Amira Buzaglo, a busy casting director in the Israeli TV industry. She participated in the reality show herself and has a deep understanding of the phenomenon. She knows these shows are not just well-directed television, they're a reflection of Israeli society.
When you want to cast people to Israeli reality TV programs, you just have to walk on the street. All conflicts are there. It is a diverse ethnic country of immigrants who came from many places. Now we have extensive representation of gays and lesbians, Arabs, Ethiopians, Russians, Sfaradim, Ashkenazim. We have everything.
The winner of the 5th season of Big Brother was Tahunya Rubel, an Israeli of Ethiopian origin. She was picked with the support of 1 million text messages out of a population of 8 million people.
We're trying to bring different people, different interesting people. So in this season we had a religious woman and an Israeli of Ethiopian origin.
We had a man with a stutter, the handsome guy, and a young Russian immigrant.
This is not science, but we try to mix between people.
But it's not just about representing factions of Israeli society. The most successful reality TV programs such as Big Brother, MasterChef, and Survivor emphasize the representation of minorities.
Mizrahi Jews and minorities that never appeared on TV managed to get into primetime TV thanks to reality, and it has cultural significance.
This multiculturalism was well showcased in the finale of the cooking show MasterChef. There, a Muslim woman competed against an Orthodox Jewish woman and a German who recently converted to Judaism, who was the eventual winner. But Israeli reality TV shows are also a venue for conflicts within the society to be aired and hashed out.
I was attacked. They called me shameful and said Ethiopians are stupid, that I better fit in the jungle.
Tehunia eventually did win, but during the season, she suffered from expressions of racism.
Our goal is not to cast racists and homophobes, but obviously we do not want only peace and euphoria on the shows. The goal is to create conflicts and confrontation.
Big Brother's season over, Buzaglo has already been working on her next goal.
I was asked once if an Arab can win an Israeli reality TV show. It is not easy, but it is possible. Some already reached final stages.
So, Mayan, do you think that Israeli society is represented accurately in the reality television?
I think that the biggest problem is the name reality, because it's not really reality, it's fictional, and you should look at the shows as if it's fictional and not reality.
But the characters
I think it's maybe the only place in Israel that they have such representation, the minorities. I don't think there is any other place like that.
So you think that actually reality TV is more liberal in a way than the actual society in Israel?
Yeah, because of the representation, yeah.
And I mean, Israel does offer a diverse group of people.
I think in a sense, what we're seeing is maybe the reality shows are a bit lagging after the reality in Israel. Because if we looked at 10 seasons ago, shows like Kochav Nolad, the Israeli equivalent of, what's the name of that American show?
American Idol,
exactly. So then the first time they featured a girl from a small town, a Mizrahi Jew from a small town, that was big news. Now we're 10 seasons after that, and it's still those same people. I think you can show basically anything on reality TV in Israel now. You can show Ethiopians, you can show Mizrahi Jews, you can show Ashkenazis, as long as you don't show poor people. That's the one thing that you still can't show.
So it could be reality creating television in a way. But what's closer to the actual reality? Is it the love and euphoric MasterChef, or is it the conflicts that we see on Big Brother?
I don't think either of them is accurate or close to reality. I think that when you mix those people which are not mixed usually in everyday life, then it depends on which way do you want to take them. If you close them in a house and make them hate each other, they will hate each other.
But maybe it's bringing out conflicts that are actually, it's a good thing to discuss these conflicts.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a good thing. I think also in the first season of The Big Brother, everyone talked about it, about the differences between the Mizrahim and the Ashkenazim.
Yeah.
It takes out things that are burning from inside.
Brings it out into the light. Yoni, what's happening in the Arab world, in the world of reality TV?
I think it's interesting, Rodeh. There are a lot of very unique shows in the Arab world. For example, there's a show called Millions in Abu Dhabi, which was very popular all over the Arab world, which is basically a poetry reading contest. Ancient Arab poetry read by youth of today. And in the semifinals, I believe there was a very impressive young woman from Saudi Arabia wearing a burqa, and she became a celebrity.
And it's just reading the poems that have been written in the past?
Not exactly. It's reciting them, but sort of in a new way. It's a complicated thing. These kinds of poets. They're basically poets. But what she brought, for example, were songs or poems about social justice. So it was really interesting to watch.
Do you think that maybe such a show could exist in Israel?
We're always thinking, well, we're better than them, and everyone has like criticism, but they have a poetry on prime time, and we have.
When we have a poetry reciting reality TV show, then we can speak. Thanks. Medical schools in Pakistan show an impressive figure of 80% female students, but is it just to raise their marital value? Let's take a look.
being in med school to find a husband? It's the new tendency in Pakistan, where women represent more than 80% of the students in medical school, since the government no longer imposes a 20% quota. One would have thought that these numbers show a clear evolution of women's rights in society, a conservative country where honor crimes are not uncommon. But in reality, a woman's future is all mapped out. Invest body and soul in hard studies to raise their marital value, and in the end, they never actually work. A waste of resources, since only 50% of graduate women end up practicing one day. And there are so many women students in universities that going back to quotas is even on the political agenda. The marriage market then offers more stability than the job market, and more social integration as well. Since it is still a very patriarchal society, women are under pressure from their families. As for those who finally succeed in practicing, obstacles still remain. Male patients often doubt women's abilities to heal, and refusing night shift and assignments far from home are often refused. Issues not so different than those of Western doctors.
Yoni, is the search for a husband in Pakistan such a difficult one?
It would seem that way, Rodeh. I think that this fascinating phenomenon is reflecting the changes Pakistani society is going through. In Pakistan, you can see some of the regions are still fighting with Taliban, bombing schools for little girls, etc., etc. But you can see that some of the richer districts are the fact that women have an education has become a plus. And rich families are fighting for their girls to go into these medical schools.
Because once someone has an education, you can't take it away from them. I mean, even if someone finishes a medical school and then goes and gets married and never works as a doctor, she still has the knowledge, she still has the skills.
Yeah, and that's exactly what doctors in Pakistan are saying. They're saying, look, we're spending a lot of money training these female doctors, but then they go home, and the poor people never get to use these doctors in the public health system.
Maya, everywhere in the world, also in the Western world, women are still giving up their career for family. Is it that different?
I think, I'll talk about Israel. I think it is hard as in any other place to find a husband, especially in Tel Aviv. But I think that you can't do this in Israel because you can't be like in Pakistan that only one of the in the family only one works.
Right.
So that would be a bad idea.
So
don't try this.
Eventually, it does take us back to money, to how can a family sustain itself. What's it like in other countries in the area?
Well, one of the jokes in Pakistan is that other Middle Eastern countries don't need to have medical schools because all the doctors are Pakistani. Because what's happening is doctors from Pakistan are leaving to other countries, to other Middle Eastern countries to work. But yeah, I think these kinds of trends we're seeing in many Arab countries, where female education has become plus something that you want in a partner, in a female partner.
Well, thank you so much, both of you.
Thanks.
Every week, we ask our bloggers to bring us something that may have escaped us in the social sphere. Let's start with you, Yoni. What have you got for us?
Well, I got a photo blog named In Focus, which it's edited by a man named Alan Taylor. He used to be a programmer, and he became, to my eyes, the best photo editor in the world. Great photos, new photos every day from world events. I really like this site.
Beautiful. Mayan?
I'd like to recommend a food blog. It's a really famous food blog in Israel. It's called Batzekalim. And it is written in Hebrew, but it is on Google Translate, recipes are the only thing that you can really translate. And it is like cooking for dummies,
right.
Even if you never enter the kitchen.
I know the blog. It's a great blog, and it actually connects to your recommendation as well, because it has beautiful pictures.
Yeah, amazing picture, which also helps you.
Yeah, it's really like step by step for all of it.
Yeah.
Are food blogs in the Arab world a popular thing as well? Because it's huge everywhere else.
I think there's a cooking app called Look and Cook, And
If I'm not mistaken, it's in Israel, yeah.
Exactly, and it's become a phenomenon in the Arab world. It's in English. It's by an Israeli chef, Meir Adoni, and it's their best-selling country is the U.S. and afterwards the Arab countries.
That's nice.
Yeah.
So then maybe through food we can get us all around the table and bring us all together. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yoni, thank you, Mayan, for your recommendations and for coming to our show. Thank you for joining us as well. You're welcome to follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Post your reactions to our show. We'd love to hear. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.